Hey guys, it's Ch.4. Welcome back to ZapApple. This time, Chapter 4. The first of many times. Let's just hop right into it. Applejack and Twilight finished the rest of their food, which they took their time with. They gave the waitress a very good tip for how good the food was, which the restaurant was notorious for, was their great food. Twilight paid the check and went out in the front door with her mare friend. They took their time to walk home. The moon was out that night, and it shined bright over the dirt road that led to Sweet Apple Acres. Applejack told Twilight to wait outside as she opened the big red barn door and looked inside to check and see if the coast was clear. Applejack then took her head out and opened the big red barn door for Twilight. Twilight walked inside and looked around, and there wasn't any animals in there. Just hay, and that's it. Twilight turned to face Applejack and gave her a confused look. "Why did you bring me here, Applejack?" "Because I want to do something fun with you," Applejack said. "Fun?" Twilight said. "Yeah," Applejack said, closing the barn door and locking it. "Why did you lock the door, AJ?" Twilight said. "Come on, Twi. Come on. If you have read any romance novels, Twi, you would fucking know what's going on right here, alright? Alright? Because I'm pretty sure, other than me and my YouTube audience, knows what's going to happen, alright? Alright, back into the story. Because this fun is going to be of the sexual persuasion," Applejack said. "What?" Twilight said. Applejack turned and walked toward Twilight. Twilight took a step back as Applejack got close to her. Twilight blushed as Applejack brushed her mane out of her face. Twilight blushed even darker shade as Applejack started to walk closer and closer to her lover. Applejack started to stroke Twilight's mane as Twilight started to purr. Applejack brought Twilight into a deep, warm, passionate kiss. Twilight kissed Applejack back as she pushed her orange mare friend down to the ground and continued to kiss her. Applejack wait, what? Did Twilight just become the dominant one out of nowhere? What? Twilight kissed Applejack back as she pushed her orange mare friend down to the ground and continued to kiss her. Applejack wrapped her hooves around Twilight and continued to make out with the purple unicorn. After many moments of making out and French kisses, Twilight broke from the kiss and looked down at Applejack, who was blushing dark red. "Ready to go all the way, Applejack?" she asked with a smirked look. What the fuck? Okay, Applejack is the one that brought her here. I would expect her to be the dominant one, but no. Twilight's like out here being like, "Bitch, you're my bitch now." Like, what? What? My mind's just being blown by this story right now. "Ready to go all the way, Applejack?" she asked with a smirked look. "I sure am ready, Twilight. Let's do it," Applejack said. Twilight smiled as she backed herself up and looked down at the orange mare's exposed marehood. Applejack blushed as she watched Twilight. As the purple unicorn lowered herself and began to lick the orange mare's marehood, Applejack let a slightly loud moan as Twilight continued to lick at Applejack's marehood. "Oh, Twilight, that feels so good," Applejack said. "Your marehood tastes so nice, AJ," Twilight said as she thrust her tongue inside Applejack's marehood and began to lick her clitoris. Applejack let out a louder moan as Twilight wiggled her tongue inside and thrust her tongue inside her now wet marehood. Applejack hasn't had this much pleasure before, and for her it felt amazing, and she was also glad that Twilight was doing it to her and not anyone else. Twilight wiggled her tongue in more and started to hit Applejack's G-spot. Applejack let out a louder moan and arched her back upward in pleasure. Twilight kept licking at AJ's G-spot as Applejack moaned louder and started to pant in pleasure from Twilight's licking. This went on for a few more intense moments, and then Applejack couldn't hold it anymore. She let out a loud moan and yelled, "I'm coming, Twilight!" Then from Applejack's marehood came out her own juices. Her juices went high into the air and onto Twilight's face. Applejack continued to squirt her own juices. Kid in the background. Applejack continued to squirt her own juices for a few more seconds as her lower body shook. She laid her hind hooves down as she panted. Twilight took her hoof and wiped some of the juices off her face and licked the juices off her hoof successively. Applejack lay there panting with her hind legs covered in her juices. Twilight licked her face clean and smiled down at Applejack. You ready for round two?" Twilight said with a mischievous smile. "Buck yeah, Twilight," Applejack said. "Good, because this time we're going to do something different," Twilight said. "What did you have in mind?" Applejack said, catching her breath. "It's a spell I've been studying and just last week I mastered a spell. Are you ready? Oh yeah. She's gotta get a dodo probably, or a dick. She's probably gonna get a dick. Just saying, guys. Twilight said as her horn slightly started to glow. I'm ready, Applejack said. Okay, here it goes, Twilight said as her horn began to glow. As her horn glowed, something began to appear near her mirror hood. When Twilight was done, there, a bright flash. Once that settled, there was a full-grown, erected horsecock, which was throbbing up and down a bit as Applejack's eyes widened as her face was eye level with it. Alright, I put my mic there. I'm not sure you guys know this. Anyways, let's continue. Sure, you can take this, AJ, Twilight said. Sure, you can take this, AJ? Twilight asked. Applejack stared at the erected, throbbing horsecock and then looked up at Twilight and gave her a smirked look. Bring it, Applejack said as she slowly got up and turned around and raised her hind end high in the air and wiggled her butt at Twilight, looking at her, raising her eyebrows. Oh, AJ, Twilight said as she walked over to her and mounted her and teased Orange Mare's hood with her horsecock. You're such a tease, Twilight. I want you to fuck me so hard with that big horsecock of yours, AJ said, licking her lips and started to drool a little. With pleasure, Applejack, baby, Twilight said as she thrusted the horsecock deep inside Applejack's mare hood. Applejack moaned loud as Twilight thrusted deep again, almost thrusting the whole cock inside. Applejack moaned louder as Twilight moaned in sync with hers. Fuck, Twilight, you're so fucking big inside me, she said, closing her eyes in deep pleasure. You must have the tightest mare hood in Equestria. I love your tight mare hood so much, Twilight said as she continued to thrust inside Applejack. Twilight increased her speed as she thrusted faster and deeper inside Applejack's mare hood. Applejack moaned louder and clenched her teeth from the feeling of the big horsecock inside her. Twilight thrusted faster and harder as the fence began to creak from the hard thrust she was doing. Applejack moaned louder and panted as Twilight started to thrust harder, slamming the balls against Applejack's mare hood, making a fap sound. Applejack started to pant more, letting her tongue hang out as she continued to pant in pleasure. Twilight closed her eyes tight, thrusting harder as the horsecock began to pre-cum. Twilight let out a loud moan as she yelled, I'm coming, AJ. Twilight then thrusted hard, slammed the horsecock hard into Applejack's mare hood, and letting out a big load of cum into Applejack's mare hood. Applejack moaned loud as she felt Twilight's warm seed flow into her mare hood. Twilight moaned louder as she slammed again and let out another big load. Twilight moaned louder as she slammed again and let out another big load into Applejack. The orange mare let out another loud moan and panted heavily. The purple unicorn panted as she slowly took her big horsecock out of Applejack's mare hood and then slammed it in again to release one last big load of cum. Applejack's eyes widened as she let out one last big moan and then collapsed onto the ground, panting heavily. Twilight took the horsecock out of her lover's mare hood as cum dripped from the orange mare's mare hood. Applejack collapsed onto her side and then rolled onto her back, panting more. Twilight slowly walked over to her cum-dripping lover and turned around as she backed herself up until the cock was directly over the orange mare's mouth. Applejack blushed dark red as she caught her breath. Time for a cleanup, AJ. I want you to have this little treat, Twilight said as she wiggled her ass and the horsecock swaying side to side over Applejack's mouth. Looks tasty, Applejack said, licking her lips as she began to lick the tip. The purple unicorn then began to lower herself down as her cock slowly went into her lover's mouth. She moaned as she started to clean out her lover's cum-covered mare hood. Applejack began to bob her head up on Twilight's cock and closed her eyes. Twilight continued to clean out the cum in Applejack's mare hood. Both mares were enjoying this too much. Applejack bobbed her head faster and moaning. Oh, they do 69ing. I was like, how the fuck are they doing this? I forgot that's a fucking position. Twilight cleaned out the rest of the cum out of Applejack's mare hood as she began to thrust her cock down AJ's throat. Applejack moaned as she opened up her throat and moaned louder as the purple unicorn thrusted faster. Applejack continued to take each thrust from her lover. Twilight continued to pound Applejack's throat with her massive member until she thrusted it all the way in and cummed hard into the orange mare's throat. Several times Applejack felt the warm seed from Twilight's member flowing down her throat, down to her stomach. Twilight took her massive member out of her lover's mouth. She cummed onto her face. Applejack squinted as her face was covered in cum. The spell wore off as Twilight's member magically disappeared. Twilight then turned around and walked to Applejack's cum-covered face and lay down next to her. Applejack licked some of the white juicy cum off of her face as her lover helped her in the process. Juicy, Twilight said. Applejack giggled as Twilight cleaned the rest of the cum off her face and licking her lips clean. I love you, Twilight. I love you, Twilight, Applejack said. I love you, Applejack. I want to be yours and yours only, Twilight said, stroking her hoof on AJ's cheeks. Applejack smiled as she closed her eyes and started to doze off. Twilight smiled as she gave her lover a kiss on the forehead. Sleep well, my special mare friend, she said as she laid her head down and fell asleep with her head on the orange mare's chest. To be continued.
100,000 stories have filled my head as I look for the answer in what I've read. Secretly waiting for my life to change. And with this transformation,